Hi everyone, this is Mr Neel Raithatha, also known as the Wax Whisperer. Thank you for tuning into this latest video. The patient in this procedure attended with fully blocked earwax in both ears, and it was a challenging case for several reasons. The first reason is the consistency of the earwax. So the patient has what I called glutinous earwax. It's very sticky, gooey, it's hard to vacuum. So in both ears you'll see that I did install some olive oil earwax softening drops which change the consistency of the earwax. I find that olive oil tends to bind the wax together and it also helps lubricate the inside of the suction probe, so it's less likely to get blocked as the wax is travelling up the suction probe. We can always compare olive oil earwax drops as the equivalent to an egg. If you're making a potato cake or fish cake, it just binds all the ingredients together, and I find that's what happens with earwax. It binds together when you install olive oil drops, more so than other types of drops like hydrogen peroxide or sodium bicarbonate. Also, the patient's ear canal in both ears is extremely narrow. They have what we call a collapsed ear canal entrance. So the outer third of the ear canal is made up of cartilage, and over the years, or secondary to chronic ear infection, or even as a result of ear surgery, the cartilage can collapse upon itself. It can weaken, and due to gravity, it can just droop down. And in this case, both ear canal entrances have drooped over. So I'm having to stretch and widen the ear canal to gain access. And it's something that we teach our clear wax trainees when they come on our endoscopic ear care course. We train them how to stretch the ear open and insert both the endoscope and the instrument of use. Finally, the patient has got a bit of matted earwax. So there's quite a few hairs at the entrance of the ear canal. That's another sign that the patient's a bit more elderly. Sometimes some of the comments I read is they ask the question, why is it that we don't trim the hairs? Good question. It's just, as ear care specialists in the UK, we've never really been trained to trim hairs. I know it sounds a bit daft, but if we're not trained to do something, we're not allowed to do it. So if I were to trim the patient's hairs at the entrance, and it leads to folliculitis, so an infection of the hair follicle, and the patient can quite easily complain against us. So we do live in a world of litigation, so we have to be extremely cautious what we do and what we don't do. Also, trimming the hairs, is it going to massively impact me? No, as you can see, I'm still able to perform the procedure. Sometimes, yeah, the hairs are so much. We have forceps. We grip the hairs. So forceps. So that's something we are trained to use. And if the wax is matted to the hairs and we're pulling the wax out, the hair follicles come out also. So it's part of the procedure. We only do that if the ear is completely occluded with the hair strands, and it's inevitable. We're unable to remove the wax without removing the hairs. Also, these hairs are just going to grow back. Earwax migrates at an approximate rate, everyone's different, about 3 millimeters a month. So the ear canal length on average, just say it's 3 centimeters, argument's sake, it's about 2.6 centimeters. So it'll take about 10 months for earwax to migrate. So by the time, the hairs will grow back so much more quicker. So for preventative measures, it's not really going to help. Also, the hairs do serve a purpose. The hairs help filtrate any dust or dirt from entering the ear. And the hairs actually have, at the follicles, at the root of the hairs, that's where you find your sebaceous glands, which produce an oily substance like what we call sebum, which is the same oily substance we find on our scalp. And also ceruminous glands, if you have the ABCC11 gene, which produces an oily sweat. And contrary to myth, earwax is actually a healthy byproduct of the ear. It's just when it's excessive and it can't naturally migrate that it's problematic. So, and I would say only between 5 and 8% of the general public actually suffer from earwax chronic impaction. For the majority of us, so 90 to 92%. This earwax naturally comes out by itself, it's not an issue. So we're in the left side now. This left ear, again, is very, very narrow. The earwax is a bit more did here, and you can see that we're right at the entrance. I'm having to stretch this ear wide open. I've put loads of olive oil, earwax drops just to soften it. And there's hardly any space to work with, so despite me stretching this ear open, and hence why it's challenging. It's not an easy case. So again, I'm just stretching the ear canal to the right, which really does widen the ear canal, but it's still quite narrow nonetheless. And I'm just trying to elevate this wax off the back part of the ear canal wall. It's really tightly adhered here. And as you'll see in a moment, a thick piece of skin that's adhered to the canal wall that I managed to loosen. So earwax can sometimes be like this. It's really challenging. I suspect when I first started, this case would be one of those really, really difficult ones where it will take me about half an hour to 40 minutes to do. It took me less than, I can't remember how long it took me, the length of this video, but it didn't take me that long. So just for experience, you know how to manipulate the wax. And this is why an endoscope is so great, because we can visualize the entire ear canal wall. So we can work on weak spots. So here you can see the dead skin. I've managed to loosen that now. See, there's loads of hairs here. So we just manage that. I know it doesn't always make great viewing, but as I said before, I'm not going to use a shaver. I've not been trained to shave these hairs off using a shaver, and if I cut the ear canal, something happens, I develop folliculitis, I get in trouble. Forceps, like I said, it wasn't causing me an issue, so I just continued, just wriggling this forwards now, just teasing it up and down. But yeah, this is why an endoscope I feel so great, because we can visualise the whole ear canal in one view, and we know it facilitates us, it directs us. Okay, so this part of the wax is loose, let's remove that piece of the wax. With other techniques, your view is so limited. So there's the patient's eardrum, it's all visible, the wax is all removed. I'm just going to mop up. So with other modes of wax removal, your view is so narrow and limited. You're constantly having, it's almost like a jigsaw, you're having to visually in your mind, you see a quarter of the ear canal, then you're having to manipulate the ear to see the next quarter, and you're having to remember what the previous view was, and you're trying to collate all of these different images, 4 different images of 4 different parts of the ear canal in your mind subconsciously into one full view. As an endoscope, you just put the endoscope in the ear and you more or less see everything, so you're not having to have these little jigsaw pieces of the ear canal and bring them together yourself. I hope that makes sense and you enjoyed that video, and yeah, stay tuned and I'll upload more videos in due course. Bye.